Hello, welcome to Premier Sport Fans Center. And tonight we have Talk Sports on our Friday edition. That's where we talk about all sports activities around the world. And tonight I'm not alone in the studio, as I have with me Sunday Temitope and also Yemite in the studio. We're together. We'll be talking about all sporting affairs, not just football, but we move out of football and talk about everything, not just that. Temitope happens to be a Chelsea fan. Temitope, welcome to the studio tonight.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be in the studio tonight.
And also we have Yemite, another Chelsea fan. Everything's not going well for Chelsea. We saw what happens in the UEFA Champions League. They struggled to get a victory over Benfica, and before that, 3 on the bounce and losses, and not just losses alone. They got red cards in the 3 matches. Yemite, you have Liverpool tomorrow. How are you guys coping with that?
First off, so good to be back on Talksport. 7 days just left around the corner, just like that, and it's another day to talk about what's going to happen. So concerning our club,
I don't understand what you mean by our club right now.
Yeah, we are both Chelsea fans.
I'm not, because I have to be objective.
See,
I'm not talking about
I get what you're saying.
I'm not talking about Chelsea.
This is it. When you want to prosecute a season with young lads, there's the children attitude. There's these childish things they can do.
Sure.
So those are the things Chelsea are facing. Okay, can you explain? Look at what kind of red card did Sanchez take against Man U? We'll go to Brighton. How did Ato do such a silly thing? Because Ato actually committed child over. So when you look at it, children will make childish mistakes, and that's what Chelsea is facing currently.
Okay, yes, away from what Chelsea is facing, let's talk about the World Youth Championship currently going on, and we'll be moving so focused on much of African participation. That Morocco with 2 wins from 2 games where they've defeated Spain and Brazil, and looking good to make the round of 16. Morocco defeating Spain and also defeating Brazil 2-1 in the under 20 World Club Championship is actually a good one for Africa, and looking at how much they've actually improved themselves from this season.
Yeah, Morocco is an example of how to grow your football, how to build structure, how to harness your talent, and how to shape them up to be what you want them to be. Look at from the World Cup semi-finals. Look at how their trajectory
and even
has
to the
been.
female,
And now they'll be joint hosts.
WAFCON.
And they'll be joint hosts, I think,
Under
2030.
17?
No, the World
for
Cup.
the World Cup 2030,
2034.
Yeah.
So now look at how they have grown. You have to go and study their roadmap. How did they get here? Few years ago, Morocco was not like this. So it takes years of planning, and when they are reaping the harvest, you just have to just go and take their template and maybe do something with it. Because for me, in African football, Morocco is high up there. If they are not number 1, they are number 2.
Okay, tell me, talk about what is Nigeria not doing like the Morocco side? Because we saw the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, that is under 20 Eagles, lost 1-0 to Norway, but yesterday they struggled to a 3-2 victory over Saudi Arabia. It took a 9-minute penalty for the Flying Eagles to get that 3 points over Saudi Arabia, and they have the next game against Colombia. How much do you think the Flying Eagles can compete in this competition?
Well, what I feel about the last game with
Saudi
Arabia
is just like maybe I see it as a struggling match, and again I feel like they can do much more better, because at least they can be seeing Morocco under 20 as maybe like a template, or like to compete with them. So I feel maybe our next match with them should be like maximum 3 points for that match.
Okay, yes, Colombia is our next match in that group, and it's all it's possible we get a victory or a draw. I think a draw is all we need to qualify as the second best team in that group. Or if we are losing that game, we might be waiting to qualify as the best losers for the round of 16. How do you see the Flying Eagles getting a victory over Colombia in that encounter?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Impossibility is nothing in football. But the one thing about a competition like that is there are some teams that they call tournament teams. And when you talk about some competitions, especially age grade, you will notice that Nigeria can be a tournament team. They grow into the tournament. They started with a loss, almost played a draw, and got a victory. It can be a moral booster. It can be the next step in the right direction. Correct their mistakes, try to make one or two right. But now, struggling at the beginning of a competition also can be something to be worried about. So I think that either ways, whatever they are going to do, they better take all 3 points.
Okay, yes, I'm going to the Super Eagles team selection for the next round of qualifiers for the World Cup, where the Super Eagles of Nigeria has 2 games against Benin Republic and also Lesotho. The Super Eagles manager Eric Shelley has dropped a 23-man list with just 2 debutants in that squad. We have Adams Amos of Sevilla and also Olakunle Olusegun joining the Super Eagles squad for this encounter. There's also a return of Cyril Disas, who was a lot of questions over that young guy because of what we saw, the criticisms from Nigerians over the last game. How do you feel about this new squad from Eric Chile? Do you think the Super Eagles possibly will be getting the qualifying selection this time around?
Yeah, it's practically what he went with the last round of matches. Only a few short change, but when you look at the Super Eagles, I think they don't show any sign of promise for me. Even with Victor Osimhen in doubt right now for that encounter. But when you look at the trajectory of the Super Eagles, it has been one that has been filled with, the Book of Lamentation would have been filled right now, because those guys don't look like they give their best. You see them in their clubs at a certain level, they don't really replicate, except for few guys like Lukman and Victor Osimhen that really brings their A game. Now, how can you explain that Nigeria was leading the Zimbabwe game and conceded at home at 92nd minute or 91st minute? How can you explain how a team can struggle to get a goal like that and still, okay, for instance, look at the game between Benin and Nigeria, how Nigeria took the lead and allowed Benin to come back into that one, playing at the neutral ground. So you just have to look at the attitude of these guys, even their talent. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, many of them are just band average, but with full commitment to your team, your average can do the winning. So we saw Greece in that 2001. What's the 2004? Oh, that Euro 2004. That Portugal. We saw they were average, but they gave their all and they won the competition. So it's not about even average. We are now questioning their commitment. What is their commitment level to the national team? It's not about names. Those are just names. Sunday Oba was no name when he won the AFCON for us in 2013. So it's not about name. It's not about their commitment. Are they really committed? And if you ask me, I don't think so, except for 2-3 that will stand.
Okay, talking about commitment here, since South Africa are the World Cup qualifiers gotten up 2 points off the Super Eagles of Nigeria, though 3 points was deducted by the FIFA disciplinary committee for fielding an ineligible player. Talking about the midfielder Mokoena. But do you think the Super Eagles still stand a chance of qualifying for the World Cup?
Oh, well, I think the chance is still like 50-50. Because in the sense that I think if we should look at the table, we should be at the third.
We are currently third now with 11 points.
And our next match should be, we still have Lesotho. More of like
Lesotho and Benin, probably.
Lesotho and Benin. I think that should be like 6 points, and that will take us ahead to the qualification of the next World Cup.
As finish as second. What about South Africa as first? They have just Zimbabwe and Lesotho to go. Is there any possibility?
Rwanda
and Lesotho, Zimbabwe rather.
Yes.
Is there any chance of South Africa losing
most of them playing
any points in the qualification? No, I think Zimbabwe changed their home game to Botswana right now.
Okay.
So is there any chance of South Africa losing any points for the Super Eagles to pick up?
Well, they can drop 2 points. Like they have 2 matches, right?
Yeah.
That's 6 points, and I think maybe they will get 1 point from that 2 match.
Are you talking based on emotions?
No, I'm talking based on facts.
No,
where are the facts coming from? Because looking at South Africa right now, they should have qualified if not for fielding an ineligible player for that game. How do you see the Super Eagles making it to the World Cup? Because it looks like everything is really hard for the Super Eagles right now.
What I feel is just that Super Eagles must.
What you feel or what is the fact? You are talking about feeling. Feeling is maybe your emotion, but what is the reality?
They should. what I feel about Super Eagles is just what I need from them is just the 6 points,
The
the
6 points.
maximum
The
6
South
points.
Africa praying, and we're going back to the
There's a
calculations right now.
difference
To calculator.
between what you need and what is available.
What I need is just 6 points.
Now, when you look at it, Nigeria's fate is not in their hands any longer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if they win their 2 games, South Africa win their 2 games.
That's
South
the
Africa
issue.
not win
Ghana.
the next 2 matches.
If they draw
So you
one,
feel
win
South Africa
one,
will get
they are
6 points from the
True.
2 games?
Out of 6 points, if they should get 1 point.
Is
What
that
can I say
feasible?
about that?
Is
You
that
know,
feasible for
they
South
play
Africa?
at
In
home.
football, anything can happen.
But see, this is it. They are playing Rwanda at home.
At home,
Yeah.
They are at
And they're
home
going
against
away,
Rwanda.
away against Zimbabwe.
Now, Adibin Rwanda was away because Rwanda also is on 11 points. So Rwanda too is interested in what is happening in that group. So if you now talk about maybe Rwanda defeating South Africa, maybe
which is
which
20
is
out
not-
of 100 to happen.
so it's not really visible when you look at it now. I'm even a fan of let Nigeria not go, because it is an error for Nigeria to go and if Nigeria face Spain, how many?
Hey.
They will go and disgrace the national and
Spain.
the nation. So I'm
Okay.
of the opinion that they better sit this one out and get their house in order.
Okay, away from the Super Eagles now, let's go to the under 17, the Golden Eaglets. Manu Garba led the fly Golden Eaglets of
Flying
Nigeria.
Eagles.
Golden Eaglets, that
Okay,
is under
Golden
17
Eaglets,
years.
yeah.
The Golden Eaglets of Nigeria would be going to the next World Youth Championship, that is under 17 World Youth Championship holding in Morocco after losing the semi-final game in the WAFU B competition to Ghana. So for the second time or third time right now, the Nigerian under 17 won't be going to the World Youth Championship. What is the problem with NFF right now?
Yeah, I think that the qualification route needs to be rechecked. I think politics now. You have a lot of big guns in the West Africa. You have in the same pool. You have Ivory Coast, you have Ghana, you have Nigeria, you have Cameroon,
Like Senegal,
and they are Senegal, and they are all giants. Now, how can you politically play out just to pick 2 out of those giants? I think that's one of the problems. Since they changed the route, the way this goes, that's when the struggle has begun.
and now Africa has done 10 possibly what's it called, qualification routes to the World Youth Championship, and now 2 coming from the zone which has produced the most number of
Of
World
winners.
Youth Championship winners in Africa. We saw Africans, West Africans, have a lot of argument or a lot of criticism over the way the routes to the African qualifiers, African proper for the
Yeah,
under 17.
understand.
I mean, is it actually justifiable for this side of AFCON to be complaining over this route?
See, when you look at it, since they made it this route, you will notice that it has streamlined the way the other national teams from this WAFU has been able to draw up talent from their young teams, because they don't get to see them in the Nations Cup. The qualifying route needs to be checked. It cannot continue like that, because they are trying to sideline his own, and it's the battle between the Anglophone and the Francophone. And so when you look at the ones that make this rule are the ones with the numbers, but how far can they do? How can you run football based on sentiment? You just have to bring your best to the table. That doesn't change the fact that these guys you are trying to play out, they are still going to be the best amongst the rest. So do the normal thing and let the best represent Africa outside the world.
Okay, we'll be waiting to see if the best will be the one representing Africa outside the world at the next under 17 World Youth Championship. Under 20 World Youth Championship is still on. Like I said, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria actually defeated Saudi Arabia 3-2 over the midnight, and we're still waiting for the next one to see if they'll be making it through to the round of 16 when they play against Colombia. Eyes will be on the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, and also not just Flying Eagles of Nigeria, we have the South Africans at the competition. Egypt lost 2 games on the bounce, but Morocco are flying the Africa flag so high in that competition. So it's left to see if Africa will be winning that competition.